Dating can be very emotionally exhausting if we are not doing it correctly. So bringing that back. Ooh. What's up? Welcome back to Bertley Speaks, where we talk about values, branding your purpose, interpersonal communication, and self-care. I want to talk about relationships, not relationships with your brother, your family, but relationships with a significant other. I want to talk about relationships about specifically boundaries. Boundaries is always an interesting conversation for me because one, where do you even begin? How do you even know what boundaries you want and where do they stem from? Because sometimes if we don't understand our boundaries, we allow the wrong people into our lives. We date the wrong people. We constantly date the wrong people. And a lot of us, and I'm assuming you too, have seen that. When talking about boundaries, how do we create boundaries for ourselves so that we are dating the right people, so that we are meeting the right people? And that falls back to our values. The best analogy I can put this in is a book. So let's say that I'm out to find a book that is a hardcover, that's color red, and that is 200 pages, and that talks about love. Now, that is my goal. But the thing is, any book that talks about love can fit that criteria. There are specifics there, but it's very broad. So what I actually wanted to do, and I should do, is I want a book just like that, but instead I want a book that teaches me how to love myself. Because when I talk about love, what kind of love? I want a book that teaches me how to love myself, how to be more loving in a way where I can be confident and whatnot. So then when it comes to us and how that relates is that when we create boundaries, we shouldn't create boundaries based off on their attributes or their characteristics. So if I was a woman, I wouldn't want to create boundaries where the guy has to be like 6 feet tall, he has to make this amount of money, and he has a degree. And if I was a dude, I wouldn't want to say I want to create a boundary for this woman where she has to work out a lot, she has to have this body figure. Like those are judging and creating boundaries based off on attributes and traits and characteristics. And I'm not saying those are bad, but then those aren't the best way to set ourselves for success, especially when we are protecting our emotions and our mental state, because dating can be very emotionally exhausting if we are not doing it correctly. So bringing that back to our values. How does that play in? Just like a book. When you're looking for a book, we want a book that has its content that's gonna teach us a lot of stuff that are very specific. When it comes to a person, we want to know them deeper and specifically as well. And that goes back to their values. Because you ask somebody and they say they value communication, trust, family, and time, then you look at yourself. Do you value those things? And if they value those things as well, then it shows so much about them. That tells much more about a person than their status and their characteristics. Because then you can hold them accountable, saying that, oh, you value family. I value family. So let's respect that about each other, and maybe we spend more time on that end too. And because I know that you value family, I know that you're gonna like my family, I'm gonna like your family as well. And I say that because family is one of my values. But bringing it back, when creating boundaries, it's important to create boundaries based on what that person believes in, not of their traditions or practices, but what they believe in as in their values. What makes them act, what makes them who they are as a person. And I know that sometimes bringing up values can be awkward. Like, how do you even bring it up? And how do you even bring that into a conversation? And it's really as simple as just asking for permission by saying, hey, can we take a moment to talk about values, because these are very important to me and I want to get to know you more. Just by stating that phrase in the beginning, it's already inviting. It's not threatening. You're not pressuring anybody to talk about values. You actually just want to take that moment. The next time you create your own boundaries, think about your own values. And once you understand them, then you're able to ask the other person and see if they align with you as well. And they may not. And if they don't, that doesn't mean they're not the one. But at least you're that one step closer to finding the right person into your life, or you're allowing yourself to date the right people instead of like toxic people. And I do want to say, by knowing another person's values is an amazing conversation to have. So ask yourself, what are your values? And the next time you go on a date, ask that person, what are their values as well. Good luck.